So we got to hear from Kyle's longtime girlfriend, and she was basically recanting all of the things that happened leading up to him being, you know, by their neighbor. So we're going to get back into the coverage here. She had just, they just showed her the video of everything that went down. It was hard to see what happened, and y'all will be able to see it in a clip later on, but it was really tough to see what happened and what was going on because the camera's not directly on the surveillance footage that they show. But we're going to hear her reaction to this, and then we'll hear from the defense here shortly. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. She's pretty shaken up, as you can see.
Your Honor, may I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
We just left off where you went.
Yeah, this whole story's
outside.
crazy.
Can you describe how Kyle appeared to you when you reached him?
When I went outside, he was curled up in a ball by the telephone pole, bleeding profusely.
It's tough.
I called 911 immediately.
What's your estimate of how long it took for law enforcement to respond?
Only a couple of minutes. It was very fast.
And from there, can you just briefly describe to us the sequence of events as you experienced it?
Yeah, one of the officers started rendering aid while the other officers took Mr. Levesque into custody.
And when you say rendering aid, did they render aid at the scene at that location?
Yeah, I believe one of the officers ripped his shirt off. They had to turn him over onto his side because he was choking on the blood from the first shot to the face.
Were you there for that?
Yes.
And can you just confirm for us that Kyle was taken from the scene by ambulance to a local hospital?
Yeah, first he was taken by ambulance to Frisbee. I met him there.
And can you just describe for us the sequence of events and what happens next in terms of...
I couldn't get my car out of the driveway, so I had to call one of my coworkers who came and picked me up, and she brought me to Frisbee. They immediately let me back into the room where Kyle was. They had taken off most of his clothing. They had to cut it off. He was not conscious. He was still alive, but he was not conscious. They told me that he had lost a good portion of his blood and that they were...
I just have to object to what you're saying.
But I understand the objection, Your Honor. I'll rephrase and focus. When I'm asking about the experience, it's not necessary, and other witnesses would have to provide the actual assessment. And so I'd ask you not to convey through hearsay what the doctors told you.
Oh, sure.
Just, I just want to get a sequence of your experience. Where did you go? How long were you at Frisbee?
He was not, I couldn't tell you exactly how long we were there. It was not very long. He was transported to Portsmouth shortly after.
What did you do?
We're talking about a hospital.
I went to Portsmouth. I had my coworker drive me to Portsmouth.
And were you able to see Kyle at Portsmouth?
I was not able to see Kyle at Portsmouth because he was in emergency surgery.
And how long did your estimate? And again, I don't need to hold you to an exact, but how long do you think you were at Portsmouth?
Maybe a couple of hours.
And what happened next?
They took him to Boston Medical Center.
Do you know how we got down there?
Yeah, by ambulance.
And what did you do?
I went home to check on my children because they had stayed home. And then I went to
Can
Boston.
y'all imagine this, man? This is wild.
How often were you able to see Kyle in Boston?
I stayed with Kyle in Boston from the day he got there until the day he went home.
Approximately how long was he admitted to the Boston facility?
April 5th to May 1st.
Dang, she was there for a month. That's some love. Good night, Grace. This is tough, man. She remembers the dates too. Why, Kyle? Why?
With permission, I'd like to approach, show this witness what's been marked as State's Exhibit 19 as a full exhibit. Counsel is 260 severed.
Just double check. We have no problem with that.
And then you close it at
And that's okay.
Thank you. Very good, thank you.
Shout out to everybody in here too.
I'm going to show you a photograph of that time.
Yeah.
So sad. Dang. It's tough to hear, man, how shaken up she is.
Your Honor, can I ask the court to indulge me and remind the jurors that they'll have full access to any exhibits that are
Yes,
presented?
I'm about to do that. So while you can take your time looking at it now, understand you'll have an opportunity, any full exhibits, you'll have an opportunity to see them later in the jury room during the court. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Angela, you said he was, released from the hospital. When was his, for instance, his last medical appointment related to these events?
The last medical appointment he just had was in the beginning of March, and he just went for a CAT scan it was Tuesday, I think, Monday or Tuesday? Monday.
Yeah, PTSD for real.
Remember where Kyle was working before these events?
Yeah, he was working at Aldrich Lumber in Portsmouth.
Doing what?
He would like, it's not a mill yard where they, make the wood, they sell it, so he would like stock the shelves, help people if they came in to buy the lumber, load their trucks, stuff like that.
Has he been able to return to work?
No,
Physically, how is he today?
still recovering.
And
Word on
can
the
you
street is he's
describe kind of
paralyzed.
his mental state concerning these events now.
He certainly is not the same person mentally that he was before this happened. He has severe PTSD. He's very depressed. He has a lot of anxiety because a lot of paranoia.
Yeah.
Is he still at home with you?
Yes.
No, for just 7 minutes. Angela, this may sound like a strange
Hey, what's up,
question, but
Smokey?
there's some legal obligations on my part, but I need to ask you, are you able to identify Jason Levesque in the courtroom today?
Yes, he's right over there.
And could you please identify him by some description of clothing or his appearance?
He's the man sitting right there with the dark beard, with the gray suit on and the blue undershirt.
Thank you. Your Honor, may the record reflect that this witness has identified the defendant as the individual depicted in the images that she referred
The
to.
record will show that. Thank you.
Angela, those were my questions. I appreciate your time. As you know, Attorney Sisti will likely have some questions for you as well.
Sure, thank you.
All right, so that is everything from the prosecutor. We got the defense up next. This should be interesting. And, shout out to the defense attorney here. He's been able to do a great job of asking questions directly while also not treating whoever the witness that's on the stand like a criminal. It's a very delicate situation. And honestly, the girlfriend and the daughter that we heard from earlier, they didn't do anything wrong. Just here to tell the truth.
Morning.
Good morning.
I do have a few questions,
Sure.
and nobody wants to put you through this kind of stuff. You understand that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. Prior to this date, did you ever have a conversation with Jason?
I had never spoken to that man ever.
Correct. You've never spoken to that man ever, and he has never approached you before that date, ever?
No.
I think I may be having a technical difficulty.
He's here.
Yeah.
We don't want a technical difficulty. Bad way to stop a trial.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Tell us when you're coming.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, let's get back to it. You never had a conversation with him, right?
No.
He never had a conversation with you, right?
No.
He never had a bad word for you, right?
No, I never spoken to him before.
Yeah, right, okay. And how long were you there from the time you left Farmington?
At the time of the incident, it was 2 years we were living there.
And again, I don't know if I heard you right. Was there a particular reason you left Farmington?
No, we just got a new place. It happened to be in Rochester.
All right, even though the kids were comfortable in the school, you wanted to go to Rochester, is that the deal?
Yeah.
On that particular night, actually, I think you may have made a little bit of a mistake, but I don't want to get too technical. It actually wasn't snowing at the time, at about 10 o'clock p.m. on that night, right? Snow had stopped.
I'm not really sure.
You're not sure? I want to make sure that we're sure of a lot of things here. Okay. Actually, let me ask you a kind of a goofy question, I guess.
Sure.
You were having problems
goofy
with anxiety
question.
about your driveway being plowed?
Yes, my daughter's friend, father was supposed to come plow us out with his plow truck.
And you all had to get out in the morning, and you were concerned about that?
Yes.
And you were actually kind of anxious about having to hand shovel the whole thing?
I wouldn't call it anxious. We were concerned that we were going to have to shovel by hand. Yes, it wasn't, no.
Well, you saw in the video there was a guy right next door with a plow, right?
Yes.
Did anybody have the idea that maybe you could go out and ask that guy right there?
Actually, my mother, who used to live in the front of our house, had asked Mr. Levesque one time prior when it snowed.
I'm going to ask you, did you or Kyle
Uh-oh.
have the idea that maybe you could go right next door because you were in some trouble and ask him to plow your driveway?
No, because he had refused it before.
To you?
To my mother.
So you don't know what happened there, do you?
I wasn't present, no, but she told me.
Okay, so let's talk about you and Kyle.
Sure.
Neither you nor Kyle had the idea to go over and ask him politely to just plow your driveway, right?
No, we didn't ask him.
Okay. And that idea never came up, or it never came up in conversation?
No, we never talked about it.
Now, at some point in time, around, I guess it was a little after 10 o'clock p.m., Kyle decides to go out to talk to Jason, right?
Yes.
And was he a bit perturbed?
He was, I don't know.
Yes.
He was perturbed, I guess, that he was plowing snow at the end of our driveway, yes.
Well, actually, you say that, but we're going to play that video again in a second, all right?
Yeah, sure.
We will. And the end of your driveway, of course, is on one side of the telephone pole, right?
Yes.
And on the other side of the telephone pole, there's no driveway there.
Yeah, that's where his porch, Mr. Levesque's porch is.
Right. In fact, the driveway itself actually isn't at the edge of the telephone pole. It actually starts about 8 feet in,
Okay.
right? I mean, you live there.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll show you a photo if you need to see it. still.
Sure.
Okay. I don't want to be messing around. I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. 294 evidence. That's what I make sure you clear. I'm sorry. Can we have it? I'm going to show you what we've marked as defendant's D for identification.
Yes.
Here's what it said.
That is the front of Jason Levesque's house, and my driveway is to the left if you're looking at the picture.
Okay.
Good picture.
Yes.
Accurately show that.
Yes.
Can I have the ID stricken?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, the ID is closed, is it?
Before I show it to the jury, I just want to make sure we got this set up properly. You've got the utility pole, right?
Yes.
And the utility pole is basically right in the center of this picture.
I wouldn't call that the center.
Pretty close. It's on the side of your drive.
His house is in the center of the picture.
Okay. The pole is on the side of your drive.
Right.
Looking at the photograph, the pole is to the right of your drive.
Correct.
If I may close it, I'm going to ask that the video be played a little bit in a minute, okay? But I want to be clear here. Levesque wasn't plowing your driveway that day, right?
He was not plowing my driveway, no.
And the Department of Public Works had plowed the road that day, right?
Yes.
And your concern was that they had plowed in front of your driveway, right?
They had already plowed in front of my driveway, correct?
Okay. And that was a concern.
Sounds
you
like
gotta
they're
bust
already
through that
mad.
by hand the next day if nobody comes to plow, right?
Right.
Okay. And that was the concern that you folks were talking about just prior to Kyle approaching Jason, right?
Yeah, the concern was that he was piling more snow that we were gonna have to shovel.
Okay.
So it
I
sounds
wanna
like
be
they're
clear
already
because
upset.
We're gonna see the video again, okay?
Sure.
All right. And we know which side of the pole, is what and where the driveway is, right?
Yep,
And the photo I showed you is accurate as to where the driveway is, right?
yep. And you can see that the side of my driveway by Mr. Levesque's house, the telephone pole is right by the end of that part, and we do park our cars there as well.
Again, that's fine. I'm not arguing with you at all, okay? But that pole's not part of your driveway.
No, the pole is at the corner of my driveway.
Right. In fact, there's a few feet before you get to your driveway from the pole.
I couldn't tell you exactly how far from my driveway.
Okay. Right. We're gonna get to it in a second. So it actually wasn't snowing. You didn't ask Levesque to plow the snow. Your claim is that he was plowing snow into your driveway?
Yes, he was plowing some snow in front of my driveway.
And you are claiming that that's actually what you saw?
Yes.
Have you seen this entire video yet?
I have seen the entire video multiple times.
Okay, good. All right. Now, in that particular video as well, there is additional comments from you. Not only did you say, I hope he doesn't do anything stupid, and today you claim that you're referring to Jason,
Yes,
and you say, I
I'm
hope
not
he
buying
doesn't
it.
do anything fucking dumb.
yes,
And today you're claiming that that has to do with Jason?
it does.
Did you tell the police that at any point in time?
Yes, I did.
You did? And which police officer did you discuss
I'm
that?
not sure. I talked to so many.
Talked to so many. Well, let me tell you something, okay? Before you said those two things, you also said something, okay, as Kyle was crossing the driveway toward Jason. Do you remember what you said?
Yep, there he goes.
There he goes.
Yeah.
What were you referring to there?
Mr. Levesque getting out of his truck.
He wasn't getting out of the truck.
The door had opened.
Yeah. We're gonna play the video.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, what do y'all think about this? I think this lady's lying. Because if she didn't know his temperament, if she didn't know what type of person he was, why would she say, "Oh, I hope he doesn't do anything dumb"? There he goes. That sounds like she's talking about the man that she knows, which was Kyle, the hothead. What do y'all think? I don't know.